I'm Ron Warner, managing editor of Autoweek, and we are in the car with Lamborghini's Chief Technical Officer, Maurizio Reggiani. So happy to be with you. How are you?
It's really my pleasure also because we are so far, but it's like to be really in touch with you, like several times happened on the track or in some motor show or other place.
It's so lovely. Right now, I'm in my own personal 2013 Audi A6 with a 3-liter supercharged V6, but it has Italian OZ wheels mounted on it, which I'm very proud of. Maurizio, what are you in right now?
I am in 2020 Essenza SCV12 V12, is 6.5 liter, 830 horsepower, pretty new car that we just now launched for the first time to the public. Is something really unique, exceptional, and is a product that we want really to give to our most loyal customer in the motorsport activity for something that is really exceptional.
I'm going to anglify this if you don't mind. This is the SCV12 for those that do not know the proper Italian pronunciation.
This is exactly Squadra Corse V12, is a tribute, is a car that is engineering and steered from our motorsport department, that is a Squadra Corse SC. And V12 is, I think, is one of the most important signature of Lamborghini. From the beginning, is the heart of all our car, all our super sport car.
This is not a race car, but this is a track car that has more downforce than a GT3 race car. And then, as you said before, 830 horsepower from a naturally aspirated V12.
So we have a 250 kilometer, we have 1,200 kilo of downforce. That is more or less, more of 35% of the download that you have in a normal GT3. But you can imagine, you need to steer, to manage 830 horsepower. And in order to give a perfect balance, you need to guarantee that this car is really glued to the asphalt, to the track in every condition. And you are totally right, it's a car that is for, let me say, race activity, but will not race against other car. Is really a super club Lamborghini where only customer of the Essenza Squadra Corse V12 will enjoy, let me say, competition.
You say this is a road car. This is not a race car yet. It sounds like the steering wheel comes off just like a race car does. Can you show us?
Let me say, homologated car is a car that can be used only in the track, is not street homologated. And if you see the steering wheel, you understood immediately why I say this. This is a classic race steering wheel where our customer can really set up all the function from ABS, traction control. You can change the slip of a differential. And this is something that is fundamental when really you want to learn in what way you can handle a car, and you can really set up in every moment on the track your car like you want.
You've had a lot of special limited edition cars coming out recently. Most recently, the Sián Roadster, which you were limiting to just 19 models. And that one, again, is a very high horsepower, naturally aspirated V12.
For us, one-off car or few-off car are a kind of laboratory where we want to experience new technology. And in the Sián family, for the first time, we couple our V12 naturally aspirated with a super capacitor and the possibility to have a hybrid solution that is where we take really torque and we transfer to the gearbox. This is something that is really unique. We have used a Sián project for this kind of technology. And on this, we are really proud because we can make an outstanding car, but also, let me say, perceive from our customer like a laboratory of new technology.
You mentioned you're not the youngest person at Lamborghini, but when did you start at Lamborghini, and when and where? How did you get started at that brand?
I started in Lamborghini in 1995. At this time, I arrived from Bugatti, and I take the responsibility in Lamborghini for the engineering of all the mechanical components, means powertrain, suspension, chassis. I didn't have the responsibility of the body in white trim, but this was my starting point. I was employee number 2. I started in Bugatti when there was only a white piece of paper, and at the time of Bugatti, I was responsible for the powertrain.
I want to go back even farther. Lamborghini, what defines it are cars like the Miura, the Countach, and as you mentioned, Diablo. Of those iconic brands, those iconic nameplates, do you have a favorite? Do you have one that you identify with the most?
I think every time I mention Miura, everybody think that I love Miura because it's a marvelous car from design point of view, from proportion point of view. It's probably one of the best car in the world in terms of design. But I am a technician, and due to this, what I really love in Miura is the concept that engineer Stanzani and engineer Dallara, they build on this car. If you take the powertrain of the Miura, is a transversal V12 engine that have integrated the gearbox and differential. And with this kind of co-casting of all these parts, they were able to have a distance between the rear firewall and the rear axis of the car really so small that you say is impossible from engineering point of view. They did.
Sure.
And this is, for me, is a really masterpiece of engineering. And due to this, after the designer can draw a marvelous silhouette of the Miura. It's not a problem if you are an engineering or if you are a designer or if you are only somebody that love the nice toy. This is the masterpiece of all this. For me, Countach also I love. When I was a child, I have a poster in my bedroom because it was like to have a rocket. But this is more ostentation. It's more a car that you say cannot be a normal car, cannot be a street car, a car like Countach. When you see Miura, you can only love Miura.
The founder of Lamborghini, Ferruccio, he did not have any interest in racing in motorsport at all. And now Lamborghini is involved in a lot of motorsport, GT3 cars all over the world, and the sim racing as well. You're sitting in what is effectively a race car, just not homologated for a specific series. How do you feel about being so involved in racing when the founder found racing pointless?
I think our job, mainly with the time of the Gallardo and Huracan, was also to prove that our street car are a good basis for race car. And when you want to compete with the other super sport brand, you need to move in the same field of competition where the other measure themselves. And more or less was, let me say, all what our customer ask. And I think this is, at the end, I say every time that our customer is part of a shareholder of our company. They need to be part of a strategic decision. And when you have a basis of customer that ask why you don't race, why you don't make series, why you don't compete against brand A, brand B, brand C, is sooner or later you need to decide based on your proudness to move in this competition. And for this reason, we decided to move in a competition in the race where the car are more close as possible at the series. And I think the reason why we move at the GT3 or IMSA GTD in US is exactly this, is where you can recognize immediately that the Lamborghini that race is really similar to the Lamborghini that we offer to our customer like a street car. Only to give an example, engine that race and won for 3 times the Daytona 24 hour in a row is the same engine that is in a Performante and every customer can buy. No difference. It is a proof of trust that we want to give to our customer, to our basis. We build cars that use components that are in the normal street car.
Does that mean Ferruccio was wrong about racing, or was it now is the right time to do it and back then it made sense?
I think at the time of Ferruccio there was only Formula One, and I think at this time there was no reason to have Formula One Lamborghini. Today Lamborghini race in a field that is much more close to the reality of our business, And I think it's not that was wrong what Ferruccio did. With the state of the art of today, we have put in place, because our cars are really in a field of competition, our main competitors, and we want to prove that we have at the same level, sometimes better, sometimes worse, but we can compete and we can face to face who is the best.
I've always wanted to know this. Is Ferrari a bitter rival or a friendly competitor?
They are friends. We are so close one with the other. We know so many people between the two companies. We share aperitivo in the same bar because we are really close one to the other. And at the end, our friends, we try to be every time one better of the other. And I think this is also the way that we have to improve our products to be as much as possible competitive and with the full respect one of the other. This is what really I can tell you after so many years in this region, in this area, to do cars that are really one close to the other.
It's amazing because you guys both brands are in Northern Italy. Both brands build high-end sports cars, super sports cars, and yet the culture that the two cars, it's amazing how different those two companies are. And I'm curious if you see it the same way as I do.
I think you are totally right. I think the main difference is exactly from the foundation. Ferrari born like a race car. Lamborghini born like a GT car. Every company made a own evolution. And now, in this century, put in this way, we are both strong in the market with products that are good in both companies. And it's clear that the competition is really something that will create an amazing product for our customer and also for the customer of our competitor, because competition is a right way to improve reliability, product to be sometimes more aggressive, less conservative, and really look forward in order to be able to surprise.
Well, Maurizio, grazie mille for speaking with us. It's always a wonderful pleasure. I appreciate every chance I get to see and spend time with you, and I feel like I learned some interesting insights every time. So thank you so much.
It was my pleasure. All the best. Stay safe and see you soon. Bye. Ciao.